Mr. Alatorre. This is Tracy Byers from Western Iowa Tech, and this is my persuasive speech. Hello, everybody. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about diesel engines and why I think they're better than gas. And hopefully, I'm able to persuade you why the myth about them is no longer true. And the first myth is that diesels are dirty, and that's true probably as far back as 10 or 15 years ago. They were still pretty dirty because the EPA never regulated them much, and it gave them a bad rap because they spew out black soot, and that's what people didn't like about them. But today, with the government regulating them, they got diesel particulate filters like this device and EGR coolers, which all help eliminate the black smoke. And that's almost all diesels are clean now. And it moves on to myth 2, where people still think diesels are slow and sluggish, which was true up into the 80s and early 90s when most diesels still didn't come with turbochargers. They're just naturally aspirated, and those diesels really were slow and sluggish. But in the early 90s and on forward, most diesels became turbocharged or supercharged or a combination of both. And now they're just about as responsive as a regular gasoline motor. And that moves me to myth 3, where people think diesels are noisy, and that used to be true. That used to be very true, because they were never the old diesels were never controlled by computers, and they were manually injected, and they were noisy. But with today's technology, they're ran by computers, which makes them extremely quiet, and they got high pressure fuel injection systems like this, which makes them even quieter. And modern diesels, some of them are just as quiet as gasoline. You don't even know they're diesels. And it moves me over to myth 4, where people think diesels get poor fuel economy, which is actually totally false. They actually get better fuel economy than their gas counterparts. And as you can see on my diagram there's two similar cars. There's 2013 Volkswagen Jetta. The diesel version gets a combined mileage rating of 34 miles a gallon, and the gasoline version only gets 28 miles a gallon. So that pretty much blows that myth out of the water. And then that leads me to myth 5, where people still think it's hard to find diesel at a fuel station, which might have been true 20 years ago in a bigger city, but in the Midwest and the rural communities, almost every gas station has at least one fuel pump. And here you can see the technology that goes into modern diesels that make them run clean and quiet. We got a diesel particulate filter, EGR cooler, there's a picture of a turbocharger, and a common rail system. And all that combined makes a clean, quiet diesel, which is more efficient than a gasoline motor. And in conclusion, I hope I persuade you with breaking these myths that diesels are more efficient than gas motors. Thank you. Any questions?
What about like the farm fuel that people use in diesel engines? How do those burn cleaner or dirtier? Or
Actually, it's the red fuel is actually dirtier, and it's actually illegal to put on a road-driven vehicle. It can only be red dyed fuel. It's only for off-road use.
How about diesel engines in the winter?
That's a good question. They can be harder to start, the older ones, but the modern ones that have engine block heaters, and they got glow plug systems that make them start rather easy.
Do they suggest plugging them in during the winter or certain times of the year? Or
usually when it gets down to 10 below, or 0 to 10 below,